Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football. Welcome back to our Friday live stream. Oh, yes, officially a Freak Flag Feel Good, Fake It Till You Make It, Ric Flair, Woo! Football Friday edition of our live stream. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Beavers, pleased to be joined by esteemed colleague and good friend Jeff Howe, also joined by the estimable Jerry Hamilton. Thank you guys for joining us. It's a little bit of a shorter live stream on Fridays, so get your questions in quickly. All right, we'll try to address as many of them as we can. Super chats always jump to the front of the line. You can interrupt the show at any time. And yes, CB 22. Thank you for doing all the work to count it down. 22 days until the kickoff versus Ohio State. And yeah, I mean, no doubt Bobby Lane is the greatest number 22 of all time. But you have some really cool 22s. I played with my man P. Jeezy, Philip Geiger. You got Selvin Young. You got some really cool 22s out there too. So appreciate you, CB, keeping up with it. We can talk about that among many things, no matter what you guys want to talk about. So drive the show any direction you want to. We had an ESPN article that we're going to jump into and talk about that addresses the 2026 draft. Now that Archie, all right, patriarch of the Manning family, Jerry, has made it official.
Yeah.
And now nationally, they can stop this nonsense that, Arch Manning may come out. Like I said, it's still probably a 1 to 2% chance, maybe. But for the most part, it's a 2-year plan with Arch.
Mm-hmm. It's a 2-year plan. And I think starting over 25 games I think it's a big deal. We've been saying this for this family. They want Arch to, whenever his time is to go to the NFL, to be ready to play.
Yeah.
To be developed enough to where he's ready to play. What they don't want is him for people 6 months from when he goes out and say, he probably should have stayed another year. He's not ready. That's not really what the Manning family's about, right? Mm-hmm. So they will know when it's time for Arch to go. And my guess is it'll be after 2 years of starting, Jeff. Hopefully he has over 30 starts. That means it's 2 straight playoff appearances.
I think most of this is just clickbait and trolling at this point. I mean, Arch is going to get clicks and views for everybody. So
yes,
look, if you're locked in with us here at On Texas Football, that's not even. I mean, we have to talk about it because it keeps getting talked about. But like you said, Jerry, from the jump, this was the Manning family doesn't. I don't know how many times I got to repeat myself. This family doesn't do anything half-cocked. No. They once pretty much held the NFL draft hostage to get Eli out of San Diego when that franchise was a crap show. So yeah, I know why we have to continue talking about it, but as annoying as that is, but yes, it's a 2-year deal.
So I love it. So they don't do anything half-cocked. They're full-cocked. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
The man is a full cock. They never have cocked.
That's trying to get us a YouTube strike right now. All right.
I just know that Jeff. No, because he has said that multiple times, but I was waiting on him to go to the other side of it, but that didn't happen because Jeff's a gentleman. All right, let's get to this ESPN article really quickly, because then we'll dive into some questions and some other topics too. But Jordan Reed, he is a draft analyst for ESPN. And he did a breakdown. He said he spoke to NFL scouts and talent evaluators to come up with a cheat sheet for college programs for fans to watch in preparation for the 2026 draft. And in this breakdown, he tiers the college football programs. Just to give you Penn State, he's got number 1, by the way. But then he gives you how many overall draft picks they're projected to have and how many first-round draft picks they're projected to have. He's got Penn State with 13 to lead the way, number 1, 13 overall draft picks in 2026 with 3 first-round draft picks. He does not – I don't know if he reveals it every time who the draft picks are going to be. He just puts the number out there. He has Clemson with 4 first-round draft picks but 12 overall draft picks, and they're second. He's got Oregon with 12 overall picks in the upcoming draft and 4 first round picks. Then he's got Texas 4th on this list, and he's got Texas projected with 12 overall picks and then 2 first round picks in the upcoming draft. And I believe he acknowledges that he mentions the Texas Monthly article.
Yeah.
So he is acknowledging in the piece, it's current, that Arch ain't coming out, and he still says there's going to be 2 first round draft picks. So one is obviously Anthony Hill.
Yes.
Who's the other one?
I think it's Trevor Goosby's what they're getting at, right?
It seems like they're hinting at that, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it seem like they're hinting at that to me? I agree with you, Jerry. I'm with you.
It seems like it's Trevor Gooseby, because if you scroll up to the top of this, I think he's kind of the sleeper to rise. But in the top of this article, there you go. Sleeper prospect to watch, Trevor Gooseby. So I think he's projecting Gooseby as a first rounder, because if you go down this article, he talks about DeAndre Moore as a day 2 guy.
Yep. And Ethan Burke as a mid-round pick too. Yeah.
So that's, if he's not projecting DeAndre Moore, they say he's a day 3 grade, then he has to be talking about Gooseby.
I think you're right. Yeah, because he also, Jeff, got that buzz from that Bruce Feldman article recently about the 101 annual freaks of college football. It's not about the best players, just the physical freaks of college football. Well, freakishness, all right, and when all of its different many ways will earn you your draft, it will increase your draft stock, especially at the combine. And obviously, just hypothetically, if Trevor Gooseby ends up declaring, his combine numbers will be good for an offensive lineman because he is considered a physical freak.
Everybody last year, I think, was, and I tried to back people off of it because no one, even before the knee injury, like I didn't think Cam Williams was going to test elite like Amarius Mims. Everybody kept trying to make the comparison between Cam Williams and Amarius Mims. Like, well, I didn't think Cam Williams was going to go to the combine and just put up freakish numbers like Amarius Mims did. The other difference was Cam got hurt, and the knee injury really, really hurt his stock. Gooseby, on the other hand, Gooseby could go to the combine and test off the charts. So if he has a really strong year and the grade is there, yeah, I don't see anybody else getting themselves in the position where like they're a lock as a first rounder right now. I mean, can you say Malik Muhammad is that guy right now? Not a lock as a first rounder.
No. If he picks 3 or 4 passes off, if Malik becomes a playmaker on the ball on Saturdays, Rod, he'll start to get some mention. Because I think the last piece for him is creating turnovers at that position. But, Rob, we're talking about this more on Coffee and Football, not to cut you off. He's not going to get challenged as much throughout the season this year as last year. It's going to be the corner opposite him this year. Because last year, Jahdae Barron wasn't going to be challenged as much as the season went on. So Muhammad was. I think Muhammad's experience, people are going to test Gilbo a lot early, especially if he's a starting quarter, or if it's Kobe, say, all right, what you got over there?
No doubt. Yeah. That's the easy way to go, right? I mean, that's how you build a game plan. You build a game plan. He's a proven commodity already. Why don't you test what is unproven until you get a little bit more sample size? So I agree with you on that, Jerry. And by the way, I was the other corner before because I played opposite Quentin Jammer and Nathan Vasher. You didn't want to test those dudes. You're going to test number 21. That guy over there you got a much better chance of success versus that dude rather than Nathan Vasher or Quentin Jammer. And I was still a pretty damn good player. So I agree with you there. And to Jeff's point, kind of piggyback on what he was talking about, I agree with you. I think, ultimately the only guy because premium positions got to matter here.
Yes.
So guys have a great year. Jack Andrews can have an awesome year. But Jack Andrews plays tight end. He's got to do some otherworldly stuff to be considered a first rounder, right? Texas running backs, they may have 2 out there. Cedric Baxter and Trey Wisner go out to the draft, had great years, but he's running back, and it's not gonna project to be a first round pick. It's also those we talked about. They look at the safeties here too. Michael Taft, he's gonna be great. Yeah, Michael Taft's gonna be a mid round pick at best, right? So I think you got to play a premium position, and that's why Malik Muhammad has the best shot. Someone also, and I shout out to my man CB, who points out that Todd McShay out of nowhere earlier this year had a way too early mock draft for 26 and did have DeAndre Moore as a first rounder.
And I'll tell you this, after 2 days of practice, what we know about DeAndre, which we know a lot about DeAndre since we cover Texas, his day in, day out, I think he's going to be a second/first round guy after this season. I think he's going to be in that party, guys.
Wow.
I think DeAndre Moore's
he's got to run something freakish though.
He does.
Because he's not huge. He's not one of those big. He's got to test, I think, really well. But I think productivity wise in Sark's offense, there's no reason to think he won't be.
I mean, right now, people would say the top draft eligible wide receivers, Jordan Tyson at Arizona State going into the season. Some people might.
Yeah.
What does that list look like? Chris Bell from Louisville, maybe the sleeper, the guy that Texas wished had gone in the portal. Is he maybe a sleeper? But that 2027 draft is the one people are waiting on at wide receiver. So the 2026 draft is wide open for anybody.
2027 is going to be one of the greatest drafts of all time. I mean, it's got to be. It's going. First of all, you talk about the wide receivers, but you've had so many really good standout freshmen from last year that are only eligible in that draft. I mean, so we just talked Colin Simmons. What's the other kid? Dylan Stewart, the edge rusher from South Carolina. All the wide receivers that are really great. Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith, Arch and Colin Simmons. Oh man, Leonard Moore going to be probably one of the top corners. That draft's going to be a legendary draft.
Yeah.
The one guy that's not on this list that I think has the chance to just go through the roof this year on NFL drafts and appear is Jelani McDonald.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I knew you were going with that. I agree.
Yeah. That's another one, though, to your point, Rod. That's Jelani McDonald could be a premium athlete, premium player, but he doesn't play a premium position. So I'm down to, if you're saying 2 locks in the first round for Texas, Anthony Hill's one. I think it's Gooseby, but I'm kind of with Jerry. I think DeAndre Moore, and in a weird way, I think it's funny we're talking about the draft because there were five teams that had scouts at yesterday's practice. The Vikings were there, the Jags. I'm trying to remember, the Broncos were there. I forget who else, but I know it was 5 scouts. I think the Raiders were there. But in a weird, and maybe this is just me fishing, but I think in a weird way, like the success Jordan Whittington is having right now.
Oh yeah,
I think scouts could look at DeAndre Moore and ask themselves, is DeAndre Moore Jordan Whittington without the injury history? Like, are we getting Jordan Whittington? Yeah. Are we basically getting a better, healthier version of Jordan Whittington? And if you are, then yeah, he's going to shoot up draft boards.
That's good. I like that.
Hey, by the way, Rod, will there be a left tackle more scrutinized in college football this year, good or bad, than Trevor Gooseby? He's blocking the blind side of Arch Manning.
Yeah, you're right. No way. Yeah.
And Arch Manning, literally, I said this this morning on Coffee and Football. There's going to be shows literally breaking down every snap he takes after every game this year. It's gonna be like the old Tiger Woods golf swing of 07 through like 12, right? It's gonna be like when it was Golf Channel's prime. And I'm not saying it's worldwide like Tiger, but there's similarity in that every golf swing was scrutinized, the good and the bad.
Mm-hmm.
Arch is going to be that way. And you know who's going to be on all those clips? His left tackle, Trevor Gooseby. So Trevor Gooseby has a good year.
Great point. Yep. And don't let him be under too much duress because the O-line will get heavily scrutinized and criticized. That's That's a good point. And I would just throw this out there. I'm just going to throw out a random stat, and I'm going to leave it at that. Arch Manning's pressure to sack rate is higher than Quinn's. It's higher than Quinn's. Quinn's pressure to sack rate was pretty high. It was like 23%. Arch is like 26%.
Arch, when you like to throw it down the field, you're willing to hang in the pocket.
You're going to stay in the pocket a little longer.
Willing to take that hit and deliver the ball down the field.
But that's a great point. I will say that to Jerry, just to piggyback on what Jerry said, you get more big plays out of Arch than you got out of Quinn. So you may have the same amount of some of those sacks. I think he's got to improve on that, but you'll get more big plays.
And let's look at that too, that percentage, Rod. Let's take the Georgia game out of it because that was just the offense self-destructed. But if you look at Arch game over game, like the UTSA game, he didn't make some good decisions and took a couple of unnecessary hits. Same thing with ULM. But compare the UTSA tape in the ULM tape and look at the pressure to sack rate in those games and compare it to the Mississippi State game. And again, that growth, that game over game growth with Arch is what I'm most excited about.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. He does learn from his mistakes really, really well. Just kind of watching the progression. It's good to watch it, like you said, watch the film in progression. The start from UTSA to the 2 starts he had, very different game plans, by the way, too. The stuff that Sark did, as opposed to him coming in, as opposed to having a whole week to game plan for it. All right, let's hit our first super chat, then we'll dive some questions and some other topics. Jeremy here. Thank you, Jeremy, for the super chat. We always appreciate that. As Jerry, I'm a truck driver. He said, which app is best for me to watch all Horns games?
I don't know.
I watch YouTube TV. I'm a YouTube TV guy, so it makes it easy for me because I can watch it on my phone. And if you're a truck driver, I don't know how you know. I mean, I'm sure you got some device to watch it. That's I don't. Like I said, I know it may be costly, but to me, it works because I can literally watch the games anywhere. YouTube TV.
Yeah, YouTube TV. Sling seems to be pretty reliable from what I hear. I'm looking into some options because I'm about done paying that cable bill. So
I always like to welcome in fans from other teams. We have a Vanderbilt fan in here today, who's clearly still drinking after carrying the goalpost off the field after beating Alabama. But Mike G, bring all your Vandy friends in.
They know how to party down in Vandy, so maybe. Yeah.
And congrats on the win over Bama. That's a life changer for Vandy football.
Hey,
really.
I was doing a speaking engagement. I was having a situation where I had to talk to a lot of Longhorn fans doing a speaking engagement, and we brought up the schedule game. I did the schedule game, and they expected me to just kind of gloss over Vanderbilt as an easy win. I was like, no, man, Vandy. There's no Vandy. Vandy's not an easy win anymore. Everybody respects Pavia. Now, maybe when Pavia leaves,
right,
we'll discuss whether Vandy kind of reverts back to whatever Vandy was. But with Pavia there, it's a win for Texas, no doubt. I'm not saying that, no upset alert. But Pavia's got some scones. He's got
testicles. You know what they've done, Rod? They've kind of replaced this season, last year and this season. They've replaced Kentucky as the team that's scrappy. You better bring it against them or they're going to upset you. That's kind of the way I see them with Pavia. Because Kentucky's gone down talent level wise, but now Vanderbilt, because of Pavia, is that team that, it's hard. You may not be able to get up emotionally at the start for that game, but they're going to scrap and they're going to play hard against you, and you better execute against them.
We know how good Texas defense was last year. There were not many quarterbacks that could make plays against that Texas defense. They all basically came late in the year, right? It was Klubnik, it was Sam Levitt, Will Howard made a couple of plays too. But Pavia, he's one of the few quarterbacks that made some plays against that Texas defense. Yep. That was not an easy thing to do, man. So respect Vanderbilt fan that's in the chat.
Hey, Rod, Jeff and I saw him at the SEC Media Days. He wasn't even as big as I thought he'd be, and I knew he wasn't going to be a big guy, Jeff. 5'11", 195, 200.
If that.
Yeah.
He gets every ounce out of his ability now.
It's amazing. Like he defies all football logic. Yeah. There's no reason for him to be able to do the things he's doing on a college football field. He's one of those kind of dudes. But I agree. So we'll get to some of your questions here in a second. Let's thank one of our sponsors for our Friday live stream, our friends over at Vaughn Lane. We appreciate Vaughn Lane and their ongoing support of Owen Texas football. All of us have had to travel to the major cities in the great state of Texas, trying to get to Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio, Austin, Fort Worth. Well, our friends over at Vaughn Lane, they offer a luxurious way to travel. Now, a lot of you like to deal with the airport chaos. Well, no, you don't, because that's stressful, right? Hoping your flight isn't delayed. It's a bit of a toss-up every time you go to the airport, whether everything is going to arrive on schedule or leave on schedule. You can also try to drive, and we've all done that, and we've probably all regretted it as well, because it is stressful because you have road rage to deal with and traffic jams, and you lose an entire day and burn an entire day of productivity. Well, there's a third option, and it's a better option, folks. You work smarter, not harder, with our friends over at Vaughn Lane. It is a great experience. I've taken the Vaughn Lane several times myself, to Houston and to Dallas for work, and also to go visit family. It is easy, and trust me, once you try it once, you'll be one like myself, a true fan of Vaughn Lane. You arrive at a luxury hotel terminal, no TSA TSA lines, no long-term parking lots, just a seamless boarding experience. It takes minutes, not hours. You settle into a plush, oversized first-class leather seat with 140-degree recline, leg rest, and a cabin attendant that serves complimentary snacks, beverages, and on select trips, a full meal if you need it. And if you need to relax, you can lean back and enjoy the ride. But if you want to stay productive, you can enjoy the high-speed Wi-Fi and power at every seat. Fall travel is booking fast. Reserve your spot now for October trips to Texas versus OU in Dallas, F1 and ACL in Austin, or college football weekends in Nashville, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston. Vaughn Lane connects Austin, Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Nashville, Atlanta, Memphis, and now Knoxville, the Woodlands, and Plano. They keep adding more and more cities to the list. Visit VaughnLane.com. That's VONLANE.com. Use the code OTF25 to save $20 off your first ride with Vaughn Lane. Vaughn Lane, elevated regional bus transportation. All right. Let's get some questions here, and then we got a super chat from Rocky P. Thank you, Rocky. We appreciate the super chat. Says, thanks, OTF, for being better than everything out there. Thank you. That's very kind of you, Rocky P. Says, another glorious day not being an Aggie. It's 1:36, and OU still sucks. Yes, I'm ready, a little late for that. So 1:41 round. But you're right, Rocky P. OU still sucks. We appreciate that. We got a good team over here at OTF. And matter of fact, later on, we're going to give you some details how you can come hang out with the OTF team. We're going to be kicking it with the 3rd and Longhorn crew doing a little Texas tour. We'll give you some details about that coming up later on. Let's get back to the super chats here. Bald Father Betts says, what do you make of Day's comments on the QB competition? Yeah, basically he said something along the lines that it's coming down to the wire, correct?
Yeah. Look, I could be totally wrong on this. It's not like I cover Ohio State. I think I'm not buying. I think Sayan's the starter. I think this is kind of like the Quinn Ewers Hudson Card competition. You want to keep your other guy engaged. You want it to be a competition. I think Julian Sand is going to be your starting quarterback, especially with the weapons around him. I do think the thing with Kleinholtz, though, is could you have some specific QB run game stuff with him, because he's a pretty good athlete at that position. Could you have a package for him, even in a season opener against the Texas? But I think Julian Sand's the guy. And let's also factor in NIL. That matters too.
So am I driving the price down?
One was a 5-star and one was not.
That's true. So yeah, the one that's getting paid the most is going to play. It's like the NFL now. That'll push you over the top.
You have to go lose the job on the field, sir.
I think camp quarterback competition coach speak jumped the shark a few years ago when Lincoln Riley tried to convince everybody that no, man, this is a dead heat between Kyler Murray and Tanner Mordecai. It's like, come on, like. Yeah. I ain't buying that. I'm with Jerry. I'm not buying this either.
It was like, and I know I took some, but it was like at the time, but it was like the whole Quinn Ewers Hudson Card thing. I'm like, Sark left an official visit weekend to go to South Lake Carroll to meet with Quinn when he went in the portal. It's not a competition. You're trying to keep guys from transferring nowadays, and you're trying to keep guys engaged because two quarterbacks have to play in seasons.
It's good.
And you have to have a competition, whether it really is or not.
That Texas hasn't had a true competition in a while, actually, at quarterback, right? Because when Quinn came in, everybody was like, well, it's Quinn's job. Quinn's not competing with anybody.
Right.
Sorry, Hudson Card. It's not. He's really competing with anybody, but it wasn't the case. And of course, with Arch, already predestined, right, to be the man, preordained, if you will. And yeah, I don't know, maybe after Arch,
set up a Lacey Diabell battle, isn't it?
Maybe we get back to an actual quarterback competition, which will be fun. All right, but I like the way Sark's doing it. I'm not complaining at all. All right, let's get to some other questions here. Oh, I got a question real quick before we get to the questions from the chat. Jerry, what do you make of this of Texas Tech getting the is it named? Is it today?
He is
he's
great
a good player.
Prospect. Man.
But I've been saying it for a while. I think they've already kind of succeeded, but people are like, oh, they got to win on the field. I get that. You don't want to embarrass yourself. But to penetrate the discourse, they did basically when Colorado hired Dion, I said, it's a great hire. People are like, how you say it's a great hire and they haven't won anything? I was like, because we're going to talk about Colorado football now, guys.
That's right.
We never would talk about Colorado football otherwise. And we're not going to talk about Colorado football. Now, I don't know how often we talked about Texas Tech football on this damn platform, but we've done it a lot in 2025. So just like Colorado, even if it doesn't translate to on-field success, you have now made yourself a viable element, or at least I think a viable option for all the top prospects around the country, because some of them do just want to get paid. And maybe, and I'm not saying they're not going to Tech because of what Tech is. Tech's good school, and if you can't get your grades up, get your guns up. But I'm saying also that, and they've admitted they got to pay guys more, or at least the reports are, they got to pay them more to go out there. But I think it's a success. By the way, this is me complimenting you, Tech fans, so don't come after me. I'm saying I think the strategy is working. That's all I'm saying.
Look, I agree, Rod, 100% agree with that. My opinion, again, it's an opinion, right, is that Cody Campbell wants to make sure Tech has a seat at the table when the SEC expands. I think he's looking really long-term here. I don't think he's doing all this with Big 12 in mind. He is trying to get into a playoff now. But I think for the long term, we're about to talk about Texas Tech a little bit more here in a second, I think, when Matt cues this up. But let's talk about Texas Tech. Here's Jake Correll versus Jojo. Whoops! Like that and then get flipped on? Jake Correll announced it August 12th. Sorry, we just had to talk about Tech a little more on that. There's Jake Correll doing backflips.
Just flipping around there. Okay, good for him.
Just flipping and flipping. But I think Cody Campbell is Josie. Yes, I call him Brad Wesley from Roadhouse. The movie Roadhouse. It's like running the whole town and everything. I think Cody Campbell. I think he's doing a great job. By the way, I think he's making sure Tech has a seat at the table as these Big Two conferences grow.
Look, I've said forever, for Tech to be relevant, like they need an identity. They're just not going to out talent people, but in their quest to out talent people, like this is their identity. And in the NIL rev sharing world, I respect the fact that they own it. Like they're not shying away. Like, oh no, kids want to come to Lubbock to get an education. Like, no, like they're like, we're paying guys and we're paying top dollar. And hell, we know you don't want to come to Lubbock. We'll pay you even more to come. Like, man, if you're gonna have an identity, man, just own it and let it be a part of who you are. And that's what Tech is doing right now. And I'll say this too, man, Jerry, I'm with you in terms of the long term. Like Cody Campbell's not going to do. You don't get to have the net worth that he has by being like a ready shoot aim person.
Yeah.
And I know he's looking long term, but look, you think if they're not forking over money for the roster, that if they go 7-5 this year, that they're not going to look at like Lincoln Riley's buyout at SC and be like, yeah, we'll pay it if Lincoln Riley wants to come be the head coach at Tech. Because forget having a field of defense. Like we'll buy you the best defense we can. We just need you to come here and
that's
score.
That's what USC's trying to do right now. 100%.
Yeah. So I totally agree. Like I said,
they're owning their identity.
Yep, that's a great way to put it, Jeff. They finally, yes, a lot of people they want to try to hide behind some, crafted image and perception. It's like, no. We gonna spend big money. And honestly, that's very attractive to a lot of young, 18-year-old kids coming out. It's like, you're gonna pay me 30% above market value? I'll come play football for you.
And look, it's gone beyond just football. They played for a national championship in softball. Yep. Basketball was Elite Eight and got Toppin back for about $3 million and are going to be one of the picks to go to the Final Four. So it's going beyond even football, and they're going to get continual attention. That Kennedy return on investment is massive for them. Mm-hmm. It got them so much airtime that they would not have had otherwise. And in basketball, Elite Eight last year, going to be one of the picks to go to the Final Four. People are going to be talking about them. Can they challenge and knock off Houston in the Big 12? They're getting a lot of ROI right now outside of just wins and losses.
Helps to have a sugar daddy. But he's one of the most sugar daddies in college football. They don't want to be openly, like Jeff said, they don't be seen. They don't want to be the face of it. Their money wants to be behind the scenes. Texas got a lot of money behind the scenes. He wants to be the face of it. He's like, I want to be the face. Texas Tech got other boosters too. He ain't the only one. They got some money out there, but he wants to be the face of it, and he's got the bill. He's got FU money, and so
yes,
he can. I mean, but that's what we all want to have. We're all trying to get FU money. He's got FU money.
The only person in Lubbock not really happy with what's going on right now is probably Tim Tadlock, because the baseball program is probably not very happy hanging out with the poors right now. But I mean, like Jerry said, like that Najee Kennedy return on investment's been great. Basketball's rolling, football's rolling. It's nobody really cares about the baseball program struggling right now.
Yeah, you just got if you're that program like this is the problem with like how Oklahoma State right now has had some trouble with that, right? T-Boone Pickens would have been, a sugar daddy for him, and no T-Boone. If you just got that one person with that kind of money and those resources who is that passionate about your program, in this day and age, it can mean everything for you. And some programs have that. So everybody's got to. That's why I love the experiments going on with the new revenue sharing and NIL rules and guardrails. You now have to really carve out your own path, your own individual experiment. Like SMU's got their own thing going on. It's working for them. And now Oklahoma with Jim Nagy, everybody criticized. He's like, nah, this is the way we got to do it here. It's really interesting to watch all the little kind of laboratories of college football right now. All right, let's get to more super chats. We got a couple of super chats here. Buddy Pal Chief Big Guy. Underrated pickup. Mason Shipley going up 10 changes the dynamic of games instead of leads staying at 7. Buddy Pal Chief Big Guy. Also Baumeister. It's the kicking game, period. Texas was so good on defense last year that we didn't really, I don't think, feel. Now offensively with place kicking, of course, obviously that was a big deal with Bert Auburn, but defensively they kept Texas from feeling a lot of the ill effects of losing the field position battle over and over again, because they lost it most games actually, in terms of the kicking game. But it's going to help now with still a great defense. Now you're going to add kicking game advantage to it with Shipley, but also with Baumeister.
Yeah, and I think Baumeister, and obviously Shipley, the question, the super chat, thanks for the super chat. Yeah, I have a little more confidence from the right hash going into the season than I would have. I'll say that. Baumeister, though, if you have an NFL-level punter where you can flip the field, like Texas defense wasn't maximized last year. There were too many turnovers on Texas into the field. Then Michael Kern, he could go on to be a really good punter as a true freshman last year, but he couldn't flip the field. And the other difference is trajectory, right? More fair catches, less return yards, higher net. But the biggest one for me is a guy that has experience that's an NFL-level punter, whether he makes a roster or not, to be determined. The punts that are down inside the 20 at the 12 to 15, or the NFL guy that's a little more experienced who downs them from the 6 to 8.
Yeah,
that's a huge difference for a defense that can pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. You can put a lot of pressure on an offense if that quarterback's having to play with 1 foot in the end zone.
No, I'm telling you, too, going back to Mason Shipley real quick, it's going to change Sark's play calling preferences in the red zone. If when you cross the 35, you feel like, all right, we've got 3. As long as we don't turn it over, we've got 3. I don't think he's going to be as, I don't know, just mind effed, for lack of a better term, knowing that he doesn't trust his field goal kicker.
Okay, this is a question, because I agree with you, Jeff. It's definitely going to change his approach. Does it make him more aggressive or more conservative?
I think it makes him more aggressive.
I got 3. That's what I feel like. I feel like when I got 3 in the bag, I'm like, okay, at this point, I know I got 3. I'm gonna pull out some of my best plays and maybe more aggressive plays to get to 7. I think that's the hope.
Yeah.
And he's more aggressive in that way. Thank you for that. That's a great point, Buddy Pal, Chief Big Guy. We appreciate that. Sharma Bailey, thank you for the super chat. Oh, I see the question here as well. Says, I like this. This is a good one. Is Lance Jackson the next Colin Simmons? They are very different athletes, but still freaks, though. No. Different kind of freak.
Yeah, no, not for me. Lance Jackson is more of the big edge /5 tech long term, but an edge that Alabama played with, Georgia's played with in their 3-man fronts. I would say a Lance Jackson is closer to, but a bit more athletic version of Michael Williams than he would be a Colin Simmons. And Lance is going to be bigger. I mean, I think Lance is going to be 6'5", 275, 280, and really athletic. But I think he's going to be lean more that direction. Colin Simmons is just he just leaves the fire behind him after he fires off the edge, dude. Like Lance Jackson's a little different player.
Yeah, I agree with that. Thank you for that, Chalmers. Appreciate it. All right, before we get back to some of the questions here, guys, let's talk Texas football here between ourselves for a second. Texas got a scrimmage coming up this weekend. That's always a big separator in evaluations in training camp, especially when Sarkisian, remember, he's shortening the training camp because Ohio State being that first game. So he basically going to give himself kind of a 2-week lead up to Ohio State. What do you want to hear, or at least give me someone maybe that's trending that you've heard in practice that you expect maybe to separate a pop in this scrimmage, or maybe just something you think is important for the Longhorns to accomplish in this scrimmage coming up this weekend. Jeff, I'll go to you first.
Off the top of my head, like I want to hear about the DBs continuing to play the ball well, because look, you might say, well, does that mean Arch is turning it over, or Trey Owens is turning it over, KJ Lacey, Matthew Caldwell? Probably, but at the end of the day, like, are they going to face a more aggressive, more athletic, better defense this season than the one they're playing in practice today? As we watch this interception right here, and likewise, if the defense is taking the ball away from this offense, then that probably tells you they'll be able to take it away in just about every game they play. So turnovers to me at this point are a good thing.
I want to go this buddy, pal, chief, big guy, running back ball security.
Oh, I like that.
That's a big one. There are a couple of fumbles in last Saturday's practice at the running back position.
That's
and
good.
And these young backs, Christian Clark, Jarrett Gibson, as talented as a Christian Clark is, there's one thing that'll keep you off the field.
That's a good one. I like that. I'm honestly, Jeff, I'm with you, because one of the things that intrigued me that we heard from the player availability, I don't know if we talked enough about it, when Malik Muhammad was asked about who's playing nickel, he mentioned like 4 guys and never mentioned Jalen Gilbo. Makes me feel like Gilbo is, and I said this earlier. I was like, I'm starting to feel like, and I had no reports. I didn't hear anything on the inside. I just researching and just my gut made me feel like they're going to try to replicate this Jahdae Barron model.
Yeah,
and go from that star. See if you can go from that star to that nickel, and see if they can do it again with Jalen Gilbo. I feel like that, especially with Ohio State being game 1.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know if they would maybe be as adamant about seeing it if this works. If they had a veteran corner opposite Malik Muhammad that they felt good about putting out on the field. Look, you're gonna have to put a young guy out there somewhere, most likely. And where would you rather put him? Would you rather put him on the outside, or rather have him deal with somebody in the slot? And I think the slot, I don't know, maybe you can devote some more resources to helping a guy if he's covered in the slot. I don't know. That's a PK, Dwayne Akina, Mark Orfe discussion. But I just feel like if they're going to have somebody try to in a pinch deal with Jeremiah Smith or one of these wide receivers one-on-one, they'd rather it be a guy like Gilbo that's played a lot of football than throw a Warren Roberson or a Kobe Black out there and just let them see if they sink or swim.
Rod, can we also add?
Yeah,
Gilbo played boundary corner his senior year in high school. I bet if you got him alone and you just had a discussion with him, he prefers corner over nickel.
I want to say they've asked him, and he said he prefers corner. It's just, by the way, it's just easy. It's an easier position to play than the slot in the star. Yeah. Especially if you've played the star, it's such a it's a comfortable transition than the chaos associated with the star position. But yeah, I still think. And by the way, if something's happening, say that Ohio State is hunting whoever that young, inexperienced player is, because that's what they're going to do.
Yeah,
you got to have a plan for that if you're PK. That they're going to hunt if it's Kobe Black at corner, or if it's Grayson Littleton at nickel, or whoever it is, that doesn't matter. They're going to hunt that one spot that's inexperienced in that secondary, and they have a plan for it, I'm sure. So I'm sure PK will have something ready to counter that as well. But that's something I was thinking about because I'm with you, Jeff. I'm hearing really good things about the secondary making plays on the football, and I like it. I think it's great, and I wonder if it's because they're starting to rev things up because they know they're going up against the best wide receiving core in college football in game one.
Another part of that is too for me, like knowing that Michael Taft has worked some there, and we know Jelani McDonald keeps working there and has experience. I think that's more of a sign of they know whether it's a dime package, nickel package, whatever. Their best 5 or 6 DBs, that mix is going to include Michael Taft, Jelani McDonald, and Derek Williams. And how you get all three of those guys on the field at the same time.
Coach Aquina knows. All right, Patrick here with the question says, "Is Wingo running routes?"
He's back at practice. He was back at practice yesterday. Yes.
That is
I'm not saying he's a full go, but he was back in practice yesterday.
Okay.
Taking part.
All right. Brendan here with his question says, "Tell me I'm right. This O-line will be one of the better run blocking lines in the country. I see a lot of 12 personnel this year too. Thoughts?" I do see a lot of 12, Brendan. I'm with you on that. Sark loves 12, by the way. I mean, that's no secret. He averages are probably about 33% 12, 35% 12 personnel since he's been here. So he's going to play a lot of it. But I think he likes these 2 tight ends. Jordan Washington, they believe, is a 3-down guy that could also threaten you vertical. And we know Jack Andrews he's one of the best tight ends in the country coming to Texas. So 12 personnel is going to happen a lot. Can they be a better run blocking 12 personnel unit than Gunnar Helm, Juan Davis, or JT and Gunnar Helm? That's I think the ultimate question, because I think they're going to be really good in terms of the pass game.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know if you'll see it against Ohio State, if the results will bear it out. But to win a national championship, that statement about the offensive line being one of the better run blocking lines in the country, that statement needs to be true by the time you get to the end of the season for them to win a national championship.
With a healthy CJ Baxter.
I'm not saying they got to be the 2005 line and just, roll people off the ball, 80 snaps a game, but you got to feel like, hey, if it's a third or fourth and 2 or less, that, those guys can get behind their pads, that you can get a first down. Yeah.
Ever since Bijan and Rojo left, they haven't been, I would say they hadn't been money in short yardage situations or goal line situations. They win their fair share, but it's never a guarantee that, oh no, they're about to maul this other team. And no matter who they are, by the way, that's just not how the Texas offensive line has been built. We'll see if this is a new line, if they're a little bit different. James with a question says, "Hey, Rod, Jerry, and Jeff, how is our defense supposed to play in amoeba or changing fronts without making an illegal, quote,
good question for you, Rod. That's a good question.
I do. That's really, James, this is a brand new rule. So I'm not sure if they're going to take it game to game based on the officials and see how much latitude and leeway they give them. I'm not sure if they're going to try to avoid those abrupt shifts, because I don't even actually know technically what their definition of it is. I'm sure it's open for interpretation. Right, Jeff? Like I'm not going to admit, I watched the SEC video. I'm like, really, I don't really understand it. I don't get it. You're basically saying, like, what's your definition of abrupt? So if I move slow, is that abrupt?
Yeah, I feel this is just my interpretation of it. I feel like the part they want to legislate is like abrupt arm or hand movements where you're trying to like flinch to get somebody to jump, maybe something like that. I mean, people have been stemming and shifting for decades upon decades in football. Are you going to tell me that you're going to take that away from the defense? So I feel like it's just, I don't know, anything that doesn't resemble like a normal football move is what they're going to legislate. But again, like it's a complete gray area.
Are you saying more on the individual than on a shift by the defense or some type of schematic move adjustment by the defense?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
The problem I see with this is somebody deciding to make the call at the worst possible time that maybe changes a drive, changes a game, changes an outcome, and they're not going to be consistent with this. you're not going to be consistent with this. It's not calling this and officiating this. There's no way they're going to be consistent with it, Rod.
No, it can't be because
No.
the definition itself is very vague and has a lot of gray area.
So can you imagine the brushback if that becomes an issue and is part of deciding a game?
Yeah. Yep. No, but there'll be stuff thrown on the field. I'll just say that.
Yes.
I'm not advocating for that, but there'll probably be some stuff thrown on the field by those fans because it's a crazy. It's a nonsensical rule that there was no need for it. Who was complaining about this? When was this something that was deteriorating the quality of the game somehow? Like it's insane. It's like rules for the sake of just having rules.
It's
crazy.
It's another rule for offense in sports.
They got enough advantages. They're fine. They're scoring a lot of points. I mean, they're doing really well. All you got to do is re-emphasize the current advantage they already have about holding and passing. Just keep doing that stuff. We're already used to that stuff. And we already know that that's up to interpretation too. But most of the time, the offense is going to win that. It's oh man.
So I just saw something real quick. Just quick Google search. Essentially, any flinching or movement towards the line of scrimmage will be ruled a defensive delay of game. You telling me you can't show blitz?
Yeah, that's what they're saying from the second level. I can't show blitz and then back out.
Yeah,
and then keep going. I can't do that. Like, what is happening? It's insane. I don't get it, man. But Jerry's probably right. They now don't even try to hide their obsession and the advantages for the offense. They don't even try to hide it anymore. They show favoritism. All right. Thank you, James, for the question. We appreciate it. How about this one from CB? He says, is Texas having its greatest run in their draft history?
Yes. Without question. Goes back to the ESPN article Rod reference. If Texas has 11 or 12 this year, 27 has a chance to have 14 or 15.
I mean, you can go back to the Fred Akers era, kind of late 70s, early 80s, but with the exception of like a guy like Lamb Jones here or there, like you didn't have the combination of, I mean, you're producing NFL talent everywhere. It's not just defensive linemen or linebackers or whatever. Like it's offensive skill guys. It's offensive linemen. It's defensive back. Like it's everywhere. You've got talent at every level of your football team. It's not just concentrated in one area. And the difference now is you've only got a 7-round draft now.
That's true.
So yeah, it's completely different than it used to be.
Yeah. All right. Let's thank you for the question, CB. Let's thank another sponsor or our sponsor of today's program, our friends over at South Point Dodge. We appreciate them and their ongoing support of Warren, Texas football. You can score an easy extra point this season when you get to the point with our friends over at South Point Dodge. South Point Dodge has over 600 vehicles in stock right now, including the all-new 2025 Ram 1500. Get the real deal today and drive away in the all-new Ram 1500 proven to last. Plus, right now you get employee incentive pricing. That's right. You pay what the employees pay right now at South Point Dodge. That's the real deal, and you won't find a better deal than that. Whether you need a car, truck, trade-in, something new, something used, our friends at South Point Dodge pride themselves on being Austin's automotive everything. So reach out to them today at southpointdodge.com, or you can go see them in person off of I-35 in South Austin. Travel today at southpointdodge.com. Don't forget about the employee incentive pricing. That's their fancy way of saying you get the employee discount with our friends over at South Point Dodge. All right, a couple more questions before we end today's live stream. Shading says, what is the biggest concern right now on offense?
I think for me, my biggest concern, and I'm not even saying concern, question to be answered, is going to be interior pass pro.
That's good. You like that? Jeff? I'll go third quarter, third down, red zone. That's not in any specific order. Just those three things.
I think it's honestly, like, this is going to sound like a cop-out. Cut down on penalties. Like you've been talented enough the last few years to come back from shooting yourself in the foot, and I think you'll be talented enough again this year. But when you're playing at Ohio State, a Georgia, anybody you're going to have to play in the playoff, and the talent evens out, it's infinitely harder to overcome those mistakes. So yeah, I got to see especially the pre-snap stuff, man. Like the pre-snap penalties just destroy me on game day.
Yeah, they are brutal. Jonah Williams enthusiast with a super chat. Thank you very much. Says Jerry, random question, but how close Brew McCoy to signing with Texas?
Well, he did sign with Texas, and he was there about a week and a half. Was it a week and a half, Jeff? 2.5?
No, he was there for the whole spring.
That's right, he was. And he left early in the summer.
Yeah, and then staff flew out to California, and that whole deal was what it was. But yeah, he was at Texas for a whole spring. It was just the
right, he was.
I don't think he and the regime at the time ended up seeing eye to eye at the end of the day.
Okay. Thank you, Jonah Williams enthusiast. We appreciate the super chat. Love the name too, by the way. A couple of more here. How about this one from Jose? It says Jerry and Jefe, which freshman do you guys want to be starting by the end of the season? Any position?
I mean, ideally, I hope none. I mean, if I'm being honest, I hope it's very, very few. That tells you that going back, that kind of brings back the NFL conversation we talked about. The fewer freshmen who are starting, that tells you there are more veterans sensing that now or never time or that contract year, whatever label you want to put on it. That means guys took a step. But honestly, if I've got to pick one, look, if Jonah Williams is good enough to start with this safety group, then you've got a really, really special football player.
I was going to say the same thing about Grayson at nickel, Littleton.
That I agree with. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
Rod, if he can handle a two-way go as a freshman at nickel,
he's special.
He's a special player.
He's a special player. I agree with that too. That Jared took the what I was thinking about. I was like, man, if you can play that position at nickel, you're special. But I'm with you, Jeff. You're so deep and talented at safety. If you got, because I think you got 3 starting safeties. I think Derek Williams, when he's healthy, is a starter. I think Taft started. Jelani McDonald's a starter. You could have another one in Jonah Williams if his rate of development, is that fast. All right, last question.
I'll ask Jerry real quick. Do you need one of the true freshman receivers to be in that circle of trust?
Yes, because I do think at some point people will get hurt. Somebody's going to miss some time. Somebody's going to miss a game. One of those 3, depending on what position it is where somebody goes down and has to miss some time, one of those 3 main guys, and I think Michael Terry's 4th because he's got a lot of development in front of him. But whether it's French or Lockett on the outside or McCutcheon in the slot, one of those guys is going to have to play a lot or start a game this year. Just look at injury history.
Yeah.
Okay. Those guys are going to have to be ready to roll.
All right, I like that. Last question here. I'd like this one to end on. McBride 409. Question: is the mentality of Texas more physical and aggressive or speed and finesse? That's interesting because on that interview, McBride 409, great question. I don't know if you watched it with Sark going on the Stampede with Mac Brown, VY, and Bob Ballou. He mentioned how they've kind of evolved as a team every year based on the talent they have and the coaches, the influence the coaches have had. And he was like, when Bijan and Rojo were here, we're going to ground and pound it with Bijan and Rojo. And he said, then this year we had so many injuries, we ended up being a pass to open up the run team with Jaden Blue in the backfield as another spread element, getting into empty and spread formations and spread sets. And he kind of he basically said they don't really know year to year. They have the influences, they have the talent, but then circumstances also contribute to, this is, I always say that football is a constant struggle deciding between what you want to be and what you need to be in order to survive. And oftentimes you end up, evolving into what you need to be. All right, to win games. This is what we need to be. I wish I had my ideal of what I want to be, but we got to win these damn games. All right, let's be this so we can win games. And Sark talked about that evolution, and I think they're going to be. I think on defense and offense will have 2 different philosophies. I think defense is about speed, and I think about speed and aggression. because they got so many havoc-minded defenders. I think offensively, honestly, they're going to be aggressive too, because I think they're going to take more vertical shots downfield with Arch. So maybe speed and aggression on both of them. It's physicality. They got to show me physicality. I haven't seen it yet from Sark since Bijan and Rojo left.
Physicality, I'd say team physicality on both sides of the ball in high leverage games. Because if you look at it last year, I mean, nobody can watch that SEC championship game last year and tell me that defense wasn't physical. Texas got out physical. Yeah. Did the offense get out physical? They got out something in both the losses to Georgia last year. I think to succeed in the SEC, not just survive, but to thrive in the SEC and to win a national championship, especially on defense, you better be physical and you better be fast.
Yep, I agree. Thank you, McBride 409 for the question. All right, thank you to all of you guys out there for your participation. Thank you for the super chats as well.
Scrimmage is at about 10 a.m., 9:45, 10 a.m. in the morning.
All right, thank you for that, Rick G. Reminder, I said I was going to do this. You can come out and meet the crew. We're going to be doing a Texas tour with our friends at Third and Longhorn on the 19th of August. We're going to be at Schultz's Beer Garden. On the 20th, we're going to be in Houston at the Social Beer Garden. And on the 21st, we're going to be in Dallas at the Happiest Hour. You can RSVP for free or purchase your VIP passes. You can go to thirdandlonghorn.com and go get those as well. There are links to all of our Twitter accounts, so you can check that out too. Thank you, Matthew. Behind the scenes, Matthew is the real MVP. We appreciate all of his hard work. Thank you, Jeff, for all of your nuggets of wisdom and expertise. Jerry, great stuff as always. For Jerry and for Jeff, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers, for my man Matthew as well. Until next time, hook 'em horns.